If you claim that 100 Things to Do Before High School is a ripoff to Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, that's invalid. Why? Because both shows were made by the same person and owned by the same company, which is Nickelodeon.
If you claim that Abby Hatcher is a ripoff to Pokemon, then you're wrong. The former show is about the titular character who catches creatures called Fuzzlies to play with, while the latter show is about trainers that catch the titular creatures to battle with.
To any of you who claim that Alan Gregory is a ripoff to Family Guy, then you are truly an idiot. Both of these shows are owned by Disney through Fox.
If you say that Back at the Barnyard is a ripoff to Ben 10, they are not related to each other.
If you claim that Bakugan is a ripoff to Pokémon and or Yu-Gi-Oh!, then you have the brain the size of an ant. Those three franchises have different battling techniques.
Some people who support the claim that Balto is a ripoff to The Lion King think that the characters in the former film are similar to those in the latter film, even though there's still lots of differences in both movies. The characters are also different species, with Balto featuring ducks and The Lion King featuring lions.
Just because Barney and Friends and Godzilla both have a large focus on dinosaurs doesn't mean that it's a ripoff. Besides, Barney is a friendly dinosaur while Godzilla is destructive.
Battlefield predates Call of Duty, or in other words, Battlefield came out a year before Call of Duty did, with the former game being released in 2002, and the latter game being released in 2003.
If you say that Black Clover is a ripoff to Fairy Tail, My Hero Academia, Naruto, and or One Piece, that's an invalid ripoff claim since they don't have much in common. Also, the themes of each are different, as Black Clover and Fairy Tail revolve around magic and wizardry, though both shows have different plots. My Hero Academia revolves around superheroes, Naruto revolves around ninjas, and One Piece revolves around pirates and sea.
Blaze and the Monster Machines is about a talking monster truck named Blaze who goes on various adventures, while Cars involves a talking car named Lightning McQueen who goes on a race.
Block 13 is actually a Middle Eastern parody and adaptation of South Park because it got banned in the Middle East.
There are not many similarities between Bonkers and Who Framed Roger Rabbit aside from both being distributed by Disney, though the plot for Bonkers differs from the plot of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
There aren't many similarities between Bodge, Peppa Pig, SpongeBob SquarePants, and Wow Wow Wobbsy, so why claim it's a ripoff in the first place?
Both Booba and Teletubbies are made by Ragdoll Productions, and they even aired on PBS Kids in the US.
Bratz was created by a former employee of Mattel, the creators of Barbie. Besides, in the case of claiming that Barbie ripped off Bratz, Barbie dolls predate Bratz dolls, as the former dolls were made way back in 1959, whilst the latter dolls were made back in 2001.
Breadwinners has bread delivery themes which regular show doesn't really show or include whatsoever.
Aside from underwater themes, Bubble Guppies and SpongeBob SquarePants don't have much in common. Not to mention, they are both owned by Nickelodeon through Paramount Global, and SpongeBob once had a cameo appearance in the Bubble Guppies episode, Trick or Treat, Mr. Grumfish.
The Little Mermaid is a musical movie. Bubble Guppies is an educational preschool show that does have music as well, but not in the same vein.
First of all, Butterbean's Cafe is a magical girl show for preschoolers, while Bob's Burgers is a sitcom made for teens and adults. Second of all, there are no similarities between the two besides how they both take place at an eating establishment.
Caillou and Arthur are both shows based on books, but in the United States, they're both aired on the same network, which is PBS Kids. Also, Caillou focuses more on human characters than Arthur does.
This claim is only because both characters are bald. Sure, Caillou is bald, but Charlie Brown actually has a little bit of hair.
If you guys are claiming that Charlie and the Numbers from Baby TV ripped off Charlie Brown, you're wrong, Feathers. Although both the titular characters happen to have the same name, they aren't anything alike whatsoever.
Although both Chuggington and Thomas and Friends involve trains, the former is not related to the latter in any other way.
Both Clash Royale and Clash of Clans were made by the same company.
Code Geass has mecha battles while Death Note does not.
Having unicorns and ponies doesn't make Corn and Peg a ripoff to My Little Pony.
Count Duckula has more horror-themed elements than DuckTales. They also say that the lead character, Duckula, rips off Daffy Duck or Scrooge McDuck, even though they both have different interests.
Crayola School includes kids going on scooters crossing levels and earning trophies, while Splatoon includes inklings that splat-colored and at each other.
Those who claim that Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood is a rip-off to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood have the IQ of a crayon box. Why, you may ask? Yet heard. Well, it's because Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood is actually a spin-off, and both shows were produced by the Fred Rogers Company. Not to mention, they both air on the same network, PBS Kids.
If you're saying that DC is a ripoff to Marvel, or vice versa, you're so stupid, quackle. Both franchises have superheroes with vastly different superpowers, so there's no copying here. DC was also created 5 years before Marvel.
If you're claiming that Digimon ripped off Pokemon, I suggest you take that back, darling. Sure, they both are toy-based franchises and have monsters that can evolve to stronger ones, but there's not much that are very similar between the two. Also, Digimon actually has more in common with mecha anime and tokusatsu superhero shows than Pokemon.
If any of you are claiming that Doc McStuffins is a ripoff to Toy Story, then that's incorrect, quite so. They're both owned by Disney.
Sure, both Dork Diaries and Diary of a Wimpy Kid are both diary-themed storybooks, but the former is shown to be written by a girl, Nikki Maxwell, while the latter is written by a boy, Greg Heffley.
Eevee and its evolutions, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon, Leafeon, Glaceon, and Sylveon, are from Pokemon. This is based on the infamous and critically hated rant made by Michael the Rapper Offline Guy.
Both Family Guy and The Simpsons are owned by the same company, which is Fox, and both shows even crossed over at one point. If any of you are wondering, Pine Nuts, it was the season 13 premiere of Family Guy, which was titled as The Simpsons Guy.
Fanboy and Chum Chum and the Ren and Stimpy show are both owned by the same company and aired on the same network, which is Nickelodeon.
If you're claiming that Fetch with Ruff Ruffman is a ripoff to Moose and Z and our WarioWare, they all have nothing in common.
Fishdom is a match 3 game, SpongeBob SquarePants is a comedy TV show, so why claim a mobile game app ripped off a show on Nickelodeon?
Go Diego Go is actually a spin-off of Dora the Explorer. To those who claim it's a so-called ripoff, perhaps you should see a doctor, ooh la la.
If you're claiming that Gracie Lou is a ripoff to South Park, then you're nothing but dumb, snappy. Gracie Lou is a kids show whilst South Park has mature content and is not for kids.
Apart from construction themes, there aren't many similarities between Handy Manny and Bod the Builder.
Lots of people are claiming that it's a big world ripped off Bear in the Big Blue House, and if you're one of them, you're in the wrong, Paffor. Why? Both series were made by the same person.
Aside from having pony in the titles, It's Pony and My Little Pony don't have much in common.
JJ the Jet Plane predates Planes since the former came out in 1998 whilst the latter came out in 2013. Besides, JJ the Jet Plane is aimed more towards preschoolers rather than families.
Johnny Test is based on creator Scott Fellowes' childhood, and the geniuses are the protagonist's sisters. Johnny himself is their lab rat. Dexter's Laboratory focuses on a genius kid as the main character.
The main character in Johnny Test has normal intelligence, unlike Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius.
Even though there are alien themes, Invader Zim takes on a darker feel than Kid vs. Cat. Furthermore, the former show takes place in a completely fictional universe while the latter show takes place in a fictional location in the real world, despite some characters having similarities, such as Coop Burtenberger being similar to Dib Membrane, and Cat being similar to Zim.
If you claim that Kid vs. Cat is a ripoff to Tom and Jerry, there's not much in common between the two.
Aside from the lead characters being based on actual celebrities, there's not much in common between the two shows.
If you're claiming that LOL Surprise ripped off Bratz, then you must be confused, precious. Both of those toy lines were made by the same company.
Although the two shows both star young boys without hair and have big imaginations, Little Bill is actually based on Bill Cosby's childhood while Caillou is completely fictional.
The heroes in Little Charmers are charmers who cast magic to solve problems while the heroes in Sailor Moon use superpowers to protect the world from evil.
Little Einsteins is actually produced by the Baby Einstein Company on behalf of Disney Enterprises Incorporated.
Even though they both have lions as main characters, Madagascar and The Lion King both have different plots, so it's not a rip-off.
If you're claiming that Madagascar ripped off Who Framed Roger Rabbit, they have nothing in common, cheeky.
Aside from baby themes, Mega Babies and Rugrats don't have much in common.
The Powerpuff Girls are a bit older than the babies, and the way they became superheroes are different. The Powerpuff Girls from an accidental inclusion of Chemical X in the formula by Professor Utonium, and Mega Babies from a precision lightning strike.
If you're claiming that Mega Babies ripped off the Ren and Stimpy show, you might want to go back and do more research, Quackalus. Both of these shows have totally different premises.
Mickey and the Roadster Racers is actually a spin-off to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Why can't you get that through your thick skulls, hipsters?
If any of you are saying that Mickey Mouse Clubhouse ripped off the original Mickey Mouse, that's invalid, teacups. They're both from the same franchise and owned by the same company, which is Disney.
Although both are blocky video games, Minecraft and Roblox aren't that similar.
Dora the Explorer teaches Spanish and Ni Hao Kailan teaches Chinese. Plus, they're both owned by the same company, which is Paramount Global.
Object Lockdown is a non-violent and family-friendly object show, while Object Terror is a violent and disturbing object show.
Octonauts released before Wild Kratts did, with the former show releasing in 2010, and the latter show releasing in 2011.
While they're both first-person shooter games, both of them have many of their own differences, like how Overwatch doesn't focus on humor as much as Team Fortress 2 does.
Panty and Stocking is an adult show, whilst Hi Hi Puffy Amy Yumi is a kids show.
If you're claiming that Paw Patrol is a rip-off to Chowder, they both have literally nothing in common, hoppity.
Paw Patrol is about a boy named Ryder who leads a team of dogs with different jobs who go on adventures saving people from trouble, while Fireman Sam focuses on firefighters who put out fires.
In Wonder Pets, Lenny, Duck, and Ming Ming, who are the animals and main protagonists of said show, don't work alongside humans, unlike the dogs from Paw Patrol, who work with Ryder.
Peep and the Big Wide World came out in 2004, while Angry Birds came out in 2009. Besides, Peep and the Big Wide World is a show by WGBH that was originally a short film, while Angry Birds is a video game conceived by Rovio.
Peppa Pig and Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom were both made by the same companies, which are Entertainment One and Astley Baker Davies Limited. Plus, Peppa Pig predates Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom by a few years, with the former show starting in 2004 and the latter show starting in 2009.
Peppa Pig and Charlotte's Web both have pigs as main characters, and Peppa Pig used spiders as characters, but that doesn't make it a ripoff. In fact, they both have completely different premises.
All four franchises are very different, with South Park being an adult show. Peppa Pig predates The Amazing World of Gumball as well, since, as stated before, the former show came out in 2004 whilst the latter show came out in 2011.
If you guys claim that Persona ripped off JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, there aren't many similarities between the two, hoppers.
The plot of Phineas and Ferb is much different to Dexter's Laboratory, Jimmy Neutron, and Johnny Test.
While both Plotagon and GoAnimate/Vyond are animation softwares, they don't share anything, with the former being fully 3D.
Anyone who claims that PJ Masks ripped off SpongeBob SquarePants is a huge liar. Besides, PJ Masks is about 3 kids named Connor, Amaya, and Greg going on missions as Catboy, Owlette, and Gecko at night, while SpongeBob SquarePants is a show about a fry cook named SpongeBob working at the Krusty Krab.
Although they all have superhero themes, they don't have much in common. Plus, PJ Masks was actually based on books by Romuald Rossiopo.
If any of you are claiming that Pokémon ripped off VeggieTales, there's pretty much nothing in common between these two.
Power Rangers Dino Charge and Thunder are both seasons of the same series, and they can do another season if they want.
Power Rangers is based on Super Sentai, so why claim it's a ripoff?
Powerbirds is about 2 super bird heroes named Ace and Polly stopping evil villains and saving the city, while Angry Birds is about birds having a slingshot to save eggs from bad piggies.
Rainbow Butterfly Unicorn Kitty and Johnny Test have nothing in common. Need I say more? Yup.
Having fantasy themes doesn't make Rainbow Butterfly Unicorn Kitty a ripoff to My Little Pony.
Aside from the cat-unicorn hybrid similarities, Rainbow Butterfly Unicorn Kitty and Uni Kitty are different from each other.
Raving Rabbids predates Minions since the former was created in 2006 and the latter was created in 2010.
There's nothing in common between Ready Jet Go and Hannah Montana. The former show is about a boy named Jet Propulsion in a fictional planet learning about Earth, while the latter show is about the titular female character who has a secret music star identity.
Aside from having space themes, there's not much in common between Ready Jet Go, Miles from Tomorrowland, and or the Zulu Patrol.
While they're both educational shows, the Magic School Bus doesn't have much focus on astronomy, unlike Ready Jet Go.
Roy the racing car and Cars both feature talking race cars, but there's not many similarities beyond that.
If you guys claim that Roblox ripped off Minecraft, you need to learn this thing called research. Roblox predates Minecraft since the former game was made in 2006, and the latter game was made in 2009.
Both Robocar and Cars have talking cars, but that's where the real similarities end.
Robocar Poly focuses on talking cars, while Transformers focuses on robots from another planet that can transform into cars.
Sanjay and Craig focuses on a boy named Sanjay who keeps his snake friend Craig's ability to talk a secret. The main characters of regular show, Mordecai and Rigby, are also talking animals, but they don't really keep their talking abilities hidden.
Saints Row was considered a Grand Theft Auto clone before the third game came out.
South Park focuses more on human characters than Sausage Party does.
VeggieTales is an educational show. Sausage Party is not supposed to be educational. It's actually an adult comedy movie.
Sundays, if you're saying that Sesame Street is a ripoff to The Simpsons, there is nothing in common between the two. Besides, Sesame Street predates The Simpsons since the former show came out way back in 1969 whilst the latter show came out in 1989. Heck, the Simpson family even appeared in an episode of Sesame Street as a cameo too.
Shaun the Sheep is actually a spin-off to Wallace and Gromit.
Despite both movies taking place underwater and having fish in them, both Shark Tale and Finding Nemo are irrelevant to each other.
Aside from genie themes, Shimmer and Shine and Aladdin don't have much in common.
While both are educational shows that focus on science, Sid the Science Kid and Bill Nye the Science Guy both use different teaching methods. The former show has kids going to school to learn about science, while the latter show mainly takes place in a lab with random comedic skits related to the topic thrown in between.
Sid the Science Kid is intended to educate kids on science topics. Dexter's Laboratory takes a more comedic approach.
They claim that Sonic the Hedgehog took certain elements from the Dragon Ball franchise. While this is true, albeit to a slight extent, they were just inspiration and not intended as direct ripoffs.
Peanuts is not an inappropriate franchise, South Park is.
Despite all 6 having taken place underwater and have fish in them, that doesn't make Splash and Bubbles a ripoff of Finding Nemo, SpongeBob SquarePants, Bubble Guppies, Shark Tale, and or The Little Mermaid.
Star Trek predates Star Wars, so it can't be considered a ripoff since Star Wars didn't exist back then because the former was released in 1966 whilst the latter was released in 1976. Plus, Star Wars focuses on adventures in various planets and space. Star Trek focuses more on traveling the galaxy in a starship.
In Dragon Ball, 7 Dragon Balls need to be gathered to summon a dragon who can grant wishes. There's no major plot point like that in Steven Universe.
Super Y and Little Einsteins are irrelevant to each other and focus on different things. The former show focuses on reading while the latter show focuses on classical music and the arts.
Even though both shows have superhero themes, Super Y has more educational elements to teach kids how to read, unlike Teen Titans.
Other than having Nintendo characters in their videos, SML and SMG4 don't even have that much in common. Also, the former YouTube channel started in 2007 while the latter channel started in 2009.
Todd's focuses on a flamingo and penguin, and Stork's focuses on a stork and a girl.
Aside from superhero themes, Team Umizoomi and Teen Titans don't have much in common. Besides, the former show is aimed towards a younger audience than the latter.
They're both owned by the same company, Cartoon Network, and Teen Titans Go is supposed to be a spin-off from the same franchise.
Teen Titans Go's art style and Total Drama's art style do not look anything alike whatsoever.
The Banana Splits in Hocus Pocus Park and the Banana Splits movie are both from the same franchise, so why would you claim it's a ripoff in the first place?
The Buzz on Maggie and A Bug's Life are both owned by Disney.
The Casa Grandes and SpongeBob SquarePants both air on the same network, which is Nickelodeon.
The Casa Grandes is actually a spin-off of The Loud House.
All 4 of these movies have different plots, despite the Emoji Movie being panned with backlash by critics, unlike Inside Out, The Lego Movie, and Wreck-It Ralph.
The Loud House has more diverse plots and doesn't mostly follow a set format.
The Nutshack and South Park are both adult cartoons with offensive jokes, but they're both different in their own ways.
Not only do they have nothing in common, but the Powerpuff Girls also predates Happy Tree Friends by about a year, with the former being released in 1998, despite it getting a reboot in 2016, and the latter being released in 1999. Also, the latter is aimed towards adult audiences while the former is family-friendly. And no, don't let the family-friendly look of Happy Tree Friends fool you, the show is ultra-violent.
Trains is a fake movie. Even if it were real, Thomas and Friends would still predate that so-called movie by a lot.
Timmy Time is actually a spin-off aimed at a younger audience than Shaun the Sheep.
The premises of both Too Loud and The Loud House are completely different from each other, despite the character designs being similar to each other.
Top Wing is about birds going on rescue missions in vehicles, while Angry Birds is about birds saving their eggs from pigs.
If any of you are claiming that Top Wing ripped off regular show, there's nothing in common aside from both shows having a blue jay as a main character.
Undertale simply takes inspiration from Earthbound, and its creator, Toby Fox, even made from hacks of the game.
First of all, VeggieTales is a show that teaches kids about God and the Bible, while the annoying orange features an anthropomorphic orange who annoys other fruits, vegetables, and various other objects by using crude jokes and puns. Second of all, VeggieTales came out in 1993 while the annoying orange came out in 2009, meaning that the former predates the latter by a whopping 16 years.
To those of you claiming that Winx Club is a rip-off to Harry Potter and or My Little Pony, they're all not related.
Eugenio Straffi, the creator of Winx Club, said that the show was inspired by Sailor Moon.
Wonder Shazam is supposed to be a parody of preschool and kids shows, like Allegra's Window, Sesame Street, The Huckleberry Club, etc.
Word Girl and Super Y both have superhero and word themes, but they don't have many similarities. Besides, the former show has more traditional superhero themes than the latter show does. They also both aired on the same network in the United States as well, which is PBS Kids.
There are people who claim that all fighting games that take inspiration from Super Smash Bros. Are rip-offs, even though most of them have many differences to set them apart.
Even if the certain show that revolves around mysteries has no blatant similarities with Gravity Falls, people might still say that it's a rip-off anyway. Shows blamed for being a rip-off include Amphibia, which is owned by the same company as Gravity Falls, Camp Lake Bottom, Hilda, and Welcome to the Wayne.
There were some racing games that predated Mario Kart and also have different gameplay.
Playmobil the movie and the Lego movie aren't related. Lego was invented in Denmark whilst Playmobil was invented in Germany.
So yeah, those are pretty much all of the false rip-off claims that people would say. Oh, and if you're wondering why my voice is Jane, well, it's because Jane will be my new main voice for the entirety of 2024, and even the rest of this year too. Also, I thought that this voice suits me very well since it sounds really similar to what my voice sounds like in real life. Heck, back in Ella's 10K subscriber special video, she even used Jane as my voice, and I liked it. I also thought of using it for my new official main voice for 2024 and the rest of 2023, and I finally made this decision. So, what do you think of my new official voice? Let me know in the comments. If you don't like it, that's fine by me. You can still use Nancy as my voice, even Kimberly, Julie, Sarah, Jill, Ashley A, Samantha, and or Jenny as my voice. Oh, and you're also free to use Kayla as my voice too, as well as Princess from VoiceForge. Those two voices sound similar to my real-life voice too. Besides, I really adore those two voices very much. Anyway, that's all from me for now. Until next time, this is Super Starlight Animation 08, signing off. Over and out, Superstars.